Anyone who has suggested for karrigan to coach instead of IGL in the past few years are lobotomized troglodytes who don't understand anything about karrigan or in-game leading.
Are you f***ing insane?
Right, we're back for Hot Take Point Made. Listen, I'm not going to drop dime, but I'm not the reason this show was delayed. So I know everyone's been saying after every one of our shows, after the major, oh my goodness, it's all teasing us for the Hot Take Point Made. I'm not the reason why weeks later, it's like 3 weeks later, but it is 3 weeks later, so there's nothing I can do about that. But the point is, we did eventually do one before the next matches, technically, for Falcons and all this, so we'll get into it. And don't worry, what's good is, we're actually going to start this week with a fan take. So if you'd like to submit a fan take, you just subscribe to the Last Nation Discord, go to the channel there, it's called CS Hot Takes, put your hot take there, maybe you will be featured on a future episode. I thought this fan take was somewhat in line with what people want to be said to Maui and Kassad, so I didn't write it either. By the way, I'm not like that. I wouldn't fake write one and do it. If I do that, we'll do it especially on an April Fool's episode. I'll reveal I did it. I didn't do this. I did not write this post, but here is the post. The person is called Victius Reacts, and they say, listen, gentlemen, anyone who has suggested for karrigan to coach instead of IGL in the past few years are lobotomized troglodytes who don't understand anything about karrigan or in-game leading. All his impact comes from being physically in the server with his mid-rounding. Anyone who has suggested this have clearly Men in Black brain wiped themselves regarding the fact that coaches can't talk during the round. It isn't 2016. Karrigan, by every teammate ever, has explained that he is the greatest improviser with the information he gets within the round, not by the prep he has coming into the game. His vibe and presence is also contingent on him being in the desk chair next to Monty and Kiyosuke. You can tell by the boyish joy on their faces when they turn to... I love the way this has gone into like fan LARP already. Anyway, it goes, by the boyish joy on their faces when they turn to karrigan, sitting next to them, the radiant charm bursting from his presence is making them drop 20 bombs. If he wasn't sitting next to them, but forced to cock chair behind the team by Valve, he wouldn't even be able to impart his sacred touch. Karrigan is the GOAT, and he will lift this major trophy despite dropping a 0.30 rating. P.S. Karrigan's the best Falcon, right? What do you think about this, gentlemen? What do you think about this?
I mean... It's funny in one respect, many respects actually. I'll start with the fact that I do think that even though I did suggest the idea of him going to become a coach, because if he's just going to give a couple golden calls per half or in a series really, and then just put up 0.65 ratings or whatever it is, that's cool that it happened for this one. I mean, the whole Cologne run was miraculous for the Falcons. For one, for karrigan to pull it off while having those numbers, and two, to do it especially with just a team that seemingly could never get over the hump, and the fact that karrigan's phase was struggling right before this. Literally a team that had so many consecutive poor results at tournaments that they dropped out of major contention. Like, in a way where you're just simply looking at the quality of CS that was being played by FaZe in this last season under karrigan, and what Falcons had failed to accomplish themselves, it was difficult to imagine that they would have been this good or this capable. But where the fan is right is that being in the server and sitting in the chair next to them clearly helped. I think that's where karrigan's aura goes beyond just even the tactics. I actually think it's a little almost, I'm always kind of between the two ideas, like how much does mentality or confidence matter in Counter-Strike? Like, shouldn't the best strats work? But reality says different. Reality says that you need good tactics, great players, and you need a team that is gelling where, and it's almost just like that, I forgot how... It was like Bill Simmons described it with like the early, like certain teams in the NBA pantheon have found this before, where it's just kind of like this level of teamwork and the way that they're able to gel that just kind of supersedes even player quality or the tactics written in the X's and O's. It's just something beyond that. And karrigan with this Falcons team's kind of brought it. He actually brought a kind of a different atmosphere. He brought with him an atmosphere where I never saw Kyosuke smile this much. I never like even Nico had a hard time sometimes putting the serious face on, or like what made Nico choke in the past for me wasn't just bad call, bad call, bad call, bad call. It was how much gravity there was in these various moments in his career, but karrigan just diffuses that tension like nobody else.
Oh my god. I knew I was gonna hate this part of the year, but I didn't know I was gonna hate it this much. I do hate this fucking what's his guy's name? Like Dictius, Stackus, something.
It was Victius Reacts.
Whatever. The thing is, like, even Maui, like, I just hate I thought that this was James Banks making a fucking hot take, like this dick riding wave, fucking surfing, stuck asses, like fucking. I hate them all because Falcons didn't win because karrigan was there. They won despite his fucking 0.71 or whatever. The fuck was it? Like, don't tell me that he brought some sort of a fucking aura. If Falcons lost in the quarterfinals, you know, for that 1, 2, 3 rounds, whatever, like it was close so many times.
Yeah, of course.
People would be saying like, "Oh, Falcons, they made a mistake. Karrigan is washed. He should go coaching.
Agreed.
He should go." So shut the fuck up with these fucking stupid things. Go fuck yourself. That's one. The second thing, if you're gonna talk,
did you just do a hot take though that like karrigan wasn't one of the reasons they won the major though?
No, of course.
It's just it's not the only reason.
No, it's not even the biggest reason.
Right, okay.
Not even a huge reason. Like, like the thing is, like for me, if we're gonna talk about Falcons having unbelievable run and Counter-Strike they played on that event and the way they got to the finals and won, yeah, we can talk about that. Fucking amazing. You know, NaVi into 1 game, Vitality into Spirit into fucking Furia. It doesn't get any harder than that. And they won against all of them. And in the best of 5. We can talk about that. But the same way we analyze losses, we should analyze victories as well. How they managed to win those close games. What the fuck happened in those key rounds? It's not karrigan that made that molly doesn't fucking burn in lower against Vitality.
It's living rent free in your head now, I know.
He didn't fucking karrigan didn't do that, or Kyosuke Smile didn't do that. It's just a fucking stupid game that didn't fucking burn.
That's one round though.
That's one
this
thing.
Is one round though, isn't it?
That's one of the key rounds against Vitality. The karrigan didn't fucking make Tesses in that fucking game against NaVi or whoever it was get all the most important kills in the fucking game. That's one of the games, the best games he has ever played.
Maybe he did. Maybe he told him, "Watch out! Look how bad you!" And they quickly shot up like that.
karrigan didn't do that. Like it was just
his golden calls. He did. He's like Jarvis. He's like Mr. Stark, sir. Look up and behind. He quickly shot up like that, and he killed him.
Set of amazing plays at the right time. Team play didn't beat Vitality. Strats didn't beat. Individual plays beat them. The same way when Hooksy was calling for G.
Fucking hell, we're invoking Hooksy now. Jesus, I'm hope karrigan Hooks on different levels, you know.
If you're going to talk about karrigan's greatness, I'm up for that. That's a topic for itself. He is the GOAT. I consider him as a GOAT.
Let me ask you a question, Kassad. I'm not trying to let you dig yourself too deep here, but this is a clarifying question in light of what you sounds like you're saying. Could you have put a different IGL in Falcons and got the same result?
Are we talking about the same individual level by the players?
Yeah, whatever. Could you put someone else in Falcons instead of karrigan and gotten the same result?
Probably.
Who?
Alexi, maybe. I don't know. Alexi.
Don't know why. Where's that coming from?
Well, I mean, you said who? I said him.
Okay.
Because he's an IGL. They needed an IGL. I mean, just Blade as a coach.
Would he have caused the boy? Would he have caused joy and a boyish charm or whatever the fuck? Would he have done that?
Apex that's a good shout. Apex, yes. Okay. Listen, I'm not taking away from karrigan's title, and don't get me wrong. It's not about that. It's about like being reasonable when it comes to this and analyze it the proper way. It should be analyzed. And we are talking about some crazy fucking things that happen across fucking 8 maps they played. Do you know that in the playoffs they're 14-4 in pistols? Falcons. that could have been a fucking.
So what you're saying is karrigan's the go IGL calling pistol rounds.
Yeah, apparently they're 14-4. Of those 4, they lost one.
I've got another question, right? Another clarifying question in the interrogation of Kassad, right? Which is, if Falcons lost every pistol and they lost all the OT games, you'd go, Zonic and karrigan aren't doing their jobs. When they win them all, you go, well, they just won them, didn't they? So that doesn't count for them.
No. I'm not saying like, listen, if there is a normal percentage of the rounds, yeah, but you have to admit it's an anomaly.
Oh, by the way, the pistol round going obviously is, isn't it? I think I think something like 4 of them had some of the best pistol stats of the whole tournament as well, which is like, that will probably never happen again. All right, have you
14-4 in the playoffs of a major, it's not about like, it's an anomaly.
Yeah,
it's a good anomaly for them, but it's an anomaly, right? Winning 4 out of 4 overtimes, it's an anomaly as well, right?
Yeah.
Like they won in against G2, they won against NaVi, they won against whatever.
I think they won nearly all of them. I think they lost one OT or something crazy like that.
They didn't lose a single OT. They didn't lose a single OT. In the playoffs, 14-4 with the pistols. Of those 4 pistols, they converted one of the second round. So many rounds where they were like half by and the individual step up. Like there is a round in the final, you can look it up on Inferno, where Kyosuke has the only AK. He jumps out of fucking middle strafes to the right and one shots Molotov with an op. Is that fucking karrigan? Or is it like maybe karrigan boosted his confidence? Yeah, maybe. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's definitely possible, right? That he gave him an injection of injection of confidence into this guy. But there is so many abnormal things that happen across those 7 maps to make this fairy tale happen for Falcons. You know, that it should not be, you know, avoided or not even talked about. The run is great. The title is theirs. They were the best team of the Cologne Major, 100%, by far. Like, you know, not by far, but they were the best team. They played individually the best Counter-Strike. I don't think it's because of the karrigan effect or some sort of aura or some shit like that. I just think they played well individually above their fucking, you know, normal standard capabilities. And they won. And this Dick Rider, whatever his name is, like he sounds like an angry person as well when he's saying like this. Like he had an argument about karrigan with someone, and then karrigan won this, and it's like, fuck these guys, karrigan is this and that, and all these people who said that he should be a coach, obviously a person that he argued with, should go fuck himself and blah, 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 blah. It's just look at it realistically before you fucking say something.
I know, because I hate people who do that, where you just go, people who are wrong, they should do this, that, and the other. That's your whole fucking style on these shows. What are you talking about, bro? What a weird thing to say. Someone just take his own statement there, going, he sounds like an angry guy. They just put past scenes of him just going off, like that'll be the intro to your own video, your own sizzle reel.
I have a reasonable anger behind it.
Okay.
Not unreasonable.
And also, right, I'll start here. First of all, how dare you ever compare Huxley winning in CS to karrigan? The guy, by the way, karrigan, even if you were like on the whole thing of he's lost most major finals, nobody literally in the history of Counter-Strike has won more massive playoff series at majors than karrigan. Like, he has an unbelievable record, bro. Like, how many times has he gone to the major and beat like the top 2 or 3 teams in the world? It's fucking bonkers at this point. Like, it's actually nuts. So to me, I actually do think the one part I agree with you is this. People definitely shouldn't just wait till after the result and then retcon all of history backwards, that like everyone was wrong in every regard and they were right in every single, like that's one thing I do here, because like my obvious example here would be if karrigan had actually lost this final, is all the other things that everyone said about the tournament suddenly not true? Is it not true that he did any of the other things? Surely he's still great leader and one of the best ever. Like, and does him winning against Furia make him, see what I mean? I think people do, like, those things matter, but they're not like these binary, you're the best or the worst, like everyone does it in my opinion. So in the same way, like, I think part of this, by the way, is a backlash actually to what I just said earlier, which is a lot of the people who are karrigan critics have used this kind of logic to say he wasn't the best. Haven't they all said, well, if he's so great, how did he lose to Cloud9? So what you're saying is when he calls an OT against Cloud9 and loses, that's his fault. But then when he calls and wins all the OT sessions against the best teams, that's not his fault. That's not him. That's the players shooting him with the guns. It's like, what are we doing here, boys? So I get what the fan means in that sense. It does feel like people are having their cake and eating it, and then essentially essentially, people who hate karrigan, nothing can falsify it. Like, unless he literally takes Nico's mouse out of his hand and clicks left mouse, nothing he did had an effect on Nico as a logic or something. So here's my problem. I agree with the first part of what he said. This is actually why I've never had the take he should be a coach, and why I basically told you guys, until I literally know his teams can't win, I'm going to say he should IGL, because I think his main strength is mid-rounding, and then late in games, especially, by the way, playoff games in majors particularly, where people get really nervous. I think that is actually when he's got a really good mind for when to do like an aggressive call or to just commit. And actually, the reason why I disagree with Kassad, I do think it's the karrigan effect. It's because, first of all, bro, think of all the fucking Falcons you saw before karrigan joined. They never did any of this shit, bro. None of it. They had the exact same players. They didn't win all the pistols. They didn't win all the OT sessions. Yeah, all the play. It was the play at the end of the game. Yeah, by the way, mate, when you walk into a team that didn't do any of this shit, and then all the players start doing crazy shit in playoffs and OT in late game, that is the karrigan effect. That is it, bro. That is the karrigan effect. Him literally, put it this way, I'll give you the football example, Kassad. You do know there's a lot of people have taken that narrative about the player, the coach Carlos Ancelotti, and they've made it too extreme. They really think he doesn't do anything, bro. They think he just goes, just play how you want, boys, and then they win the chat. No, the whole point is, there's a famous saying in coaching that, like, when you do coaching really well, sometimes people don't even know they were coached. Like, they think you didn't do anything. They think it was their idea. You know what I mean? You create a space in which they can problem solve. You nudge the right person a little bit this way, and then they do the rest themselves. And even if it's as simple as you're sometimes, in the case of his confidence, just helping someone get out of their own way, bro, that can be really important. Like, if I took that same skill and instead said it was Lars Robel with his psychological stuff had done that, we'd all be saying, what a fucking amazing job. By the way, did people, you know this, 10 years ago, people literally said that when Astralis won the major. They were like, oh my God, the sports psych must have done so much for them and worked them. Again, I could say the same thing. What do you mean? It was just device shooting people when they opened the server. What do you mean? It was just Kirby shoot. But I get what they mean by that. It doesn't literally mean he did it all. And I'm with you as well, by the way, Kassad. My problem with this one, obviously, is the reason why I only jokingly mock all the other analysts is they not only could have lost like one of, they could have lost basically every game except the Fury game. They could have lost. They could have lost to NaVi in the group stage, G2 in the group stage, Vitality in the playoffs, Spirit in the playoffs. It's only Furia actually was so fucking trash in the final that they just won easily. That was actually the least entertaining match. So that is nuts. But at the same time, I would just say, even though individually, Kassad, you're right, he didn't obviously tap Tessus on the shoulder and go, quick, shoot him up like that, which is like an impossible kill. He didn't really tell like certain other players, Nico, to do some insane shit in the fight. But generally, I do think the reason those people did those plays a lot more than they ever did before, or they just did those plays, some of it is to do with karrigan and the mind state he created. By the way, as a quick aside to make this fun, did anyone see any of the recent videos that just came out of, like, there's an Nico vlog, there's a Falcons documentary, and then there's a karrigan voice comms like vlog type thing. If you watch that, by the way, his speech before the final was straight fire, mate. I can't remember if it was the final or if it was actually the Vitality game, whichever one it was. They showed one of his speeches and how he sort of like addressed each person. That was mega, Kassad. Surely you'd be loving that. Did you see it? I feel like you'd love your captain to speak like that. You know, where he was like taking accountability. He was telling people, if you do this, it helps me, and I'll do this to help you. And so, it was mega, man. I thought it was dope.
Yeah, I don't think.
Isn't that the karrigan effect?
Each other. No. I don't think we understand each other when it comes to karrigan effect. I was talking about one thing, and you were talking about the other. The thing is, like, that I was talking about is the abnormalities that doesn't have anything to do with karrigan effect or karrigan itself. You are talking about these general things that are quite true. Like, I'm not saying that, like, that speech was bad, that karrigan didn't affect at all and didn't improve Falcons at all. Far from that. He made them close to Vitality, to Spirit, to all these abnormalities and things that happen, push them over the line.
All right, the last thing I'll say is this, Kassad. I found a way to describe it. Here's why I think people are giving karrigan effect. It's called the karrigan effect now. It's because, bro, before we all called this phase bullshit. There's not any phase players in the team, bro. It's just karrigan. Like, karrigan literally, within 60 days, replicated within Falcons, a totally different squad. And by the way, a squad of players that people would say are the opposite of the phase bullshit. They fail in massive major playoff scenario. He made them somehow have that same vibe. Wouldn't you agree? They sort of had that same, like, fuck it, we're just going to send it. We're going to go for it. We can beat these guys. They did kind of bring that. Let's say it's mentality more than physical effect.
Players as well. They do. They
Sure,
have those type
certainly,
of players as well. That suits that kind of whole narrative. But the thing is, like, as well as what I was wanted to say, is pretty much down the road, like 6 months down the road, when karrigan keeps dropping 0.7.
Okay.
0.7.
Oh, they're not going to win many tournaments. No, I'm with you.
How many people are going to stick to karrigan and say, like, yeah,
sure,
it's fine.
Sure.
When Tessus doesn't drop,
of course,
35 kills.
No, by the way, I actually had a similar thing. I wrote this down, so I do agree with you. But anyway, here's the reason why I was in favour of this move. It wasn't because karrigan's okay to drop this many frags. That already works literally in something like 2 teams. I actually had it written down. The only teams I think he could actually join and do this in are Falcons or Furia, in my opinion. Those are the only 2 rosters that, as the IGL, you could do fuck all fragging, and in theory, if everyone else played awesome, you could win the game. I actually think it's even debatable if you could do that in like Aurora or fucking Mouse or something. I actually wrote down a list of teams. Here's the top 10 teams. You could never do this in a view of karrigan. If karrigan joined Spirit, NaVi, G2, like they're not winning anything if he joins these teams. I actually, there's one other team maybe he could do, but then I think the experience would kill. Maybe in foot they have enough mechanics they could do, but then I imagine they'd be too inexperienced. So here's the funny thing: people don't get this. I'm not acting like you can just airdrop karrigan into any team and you win the major. Definitely not. Like I actually do think his fragging is so bad now. It has to be an insane super team where, as you're saying, every player basically overperforms. It's why actually, if you notice, I've never said any comments on Twitter. Usually I'll be really forthcoming if I believe this. I haven't said they're going to have an era. I don't even know if they'll win any more trophies. I think we might win like 1 trophy in the second season. My point is just interesting team to watch. You know,
Probably.
I think the major was almost the best case scenario. I don't think you can always get it back.
Absolutely, a fucking dream case scenario.
Yeah.
Like perfect storm for them.
Yeah.
Like just imagine, like I said, the molly keeps burning in the fucking lower, or the pistol percentage go down from 80% to 65 to 60. Like all these things, that all of those 50-50 things that went their way. You call it in football, 50-50 balls.
Yeah, of course.
But or in basketball as well, that goes to one other team. It makes a difference down the road. It's and that's 50-50. That's a coin toss. That's not some magic or effect or anything. You know, and that's what I'm talking.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Right, go up, Maui.
All right, who's next?
Well, I mean, one thing that I think our fans should be aware of is that they could listen to this show with one of our favorite sponsors' products. It's Raycon. And of course, this message is sponsored by Raycon. And you see Thorin's got his right there. I have mine somewhere in my backpack over there, but all good. I mean, I've been using them, obviously, given that it's summertime. There's been for me, I've been vacationing right now. That's actually what Thorin was alluding to. I'm in Japan right now, actually. So I'm recording this at 9 p.m. my time. These guys got up nice and early to record this one. And I think that the Raycon everyday classic earbuds need very little further explaining from what I have said in the past about them. I mean, the active noise cancellation is great, which has always been helping me sleep on planes, or at least just distract, whether there's a baby a couple rows away from me or the loud jet engines are nearby me. All of that's always great. If you're walking around in a city and you want the noises to be really tampered or at least quieted, then of course it's going to be valuable there as well. And if you use our code or you go through our link at buyraycon.com/hot take, they are 20% off. And that is obviously a very good deal. And of course, like many of their customers in their past, 3 million, in fact, there is a 30-day happiness guarantee. So if you don't like them, you could just send them back and you get all your money back. So not only are they great in that aspect, but my favorite aspect is always the battery life. The fact that they last forever, that if I forget to charge for whatever reason, they probably still have enough juice to last me for practically the entire flight. And if I need to just charge them for a little bit with the connector, just probably like 10 minutes, and I probably do have enough time for the entire flight, whether that's a huge long haul from California all the way to Europe or whatever it is. They are always good for it. So get your own Raycon everyday earbud classics at buyraycon.com/hot take.
Okay. Right, who wants to go next? Who has the hottest take, do you think?
I could just... Yeah. I'll go with mine here. I think that, we've been kind of waiting. When's this project actually gonna find some legs? And I think that I don't think this is officially announced yet,
Oh,
but
shit.
I think the rumors.
Are you
rumors
about to do
all
a
out
BC
there.
game take?
No, not BC
Okay.
game, not
All
BC
right,
game,
okay,
not BC
Jesus,
game.
okay, right.
The other project that's in tier 3 that we've all kind of
Okay.
watched in little bits here and there, 100 Thieves.
Oh,
I think
right.
that,
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
yeah. Okay, so I think that. So my take is that I have so much faith in Gizmy. I've been ever since watching Monty. Maybe at the very beginning of this season, I think when they were playing, I think it was the Blast Bounty, but whatever. Like Gizmy's the future. He is absolutely the future. I've talked about him on Snake and Banter for sure. I don't think I've talked about him here on this show, so I'm using this time to speak about him. If he goes to 100 Thieves, which I'm pretty sure is happening, it probably is going to even happen by the time this episode airs. I feel like this is going to revive Rain's career. And it's also definitely going to be the stamp on Device, who has kind of quietly been having a little bit of an upswing in his career as well. I think that this is the move that needed to happen to get 100 Thieves legitimately to just be a top 25 team. I know that doesn't sound like a crazy prediction for this show, but it's like this team. I don't think this team is in its final form even with Gizmy, but I do think that they are going to be kind of hovering around the top 25. Give him 2 months on this squad, and you're going to see 100 Thieves definitely shoot up in the rankings. And I think that also Device's career revival will be properly attributed to Gizmy's contributions.
I mean, the hot take's basically about the IGL, right? It's not the 100 Thieves itself. It's more that he's the future, like you say, right?
Yeah. No, it's literally just, I think he's the future, and I think that, oh, actually, you know what? It has been announced. Okay, I missed that aspect of it. I thought it was still just a rumor. Yeah. No, okay. So yeah, no, I think that this team is finally going to actually I think they're just going to find some real form, because they peaked so far with this roster on HLTV at 32, VRS 31. I think they clearly do better with Gizmy. So I'm saying top 25 easily this season.
Okay. Did you say top 25 on Azure, Valve? Right?
You sound like you're miles away from the mic now, by the way. You just covered
Maybe it's better now. Maybe it's better now. Yeah. You said top 25 on Valve ranking or HLT or whatever.
What, should I make it hotter? Should I make it just a little?
No,
top 20 is a little. It's a little tough with this one, because right now they're at 60th on HLTV and 44th on VRS. But I think they're going to be a top 25 team at some point this season.
All right. So when it comes to Gizmy, I'll tell you a little story. I said it on my video, but I'll say it here too, because maybe it will, more people will hear it. Back in Bleed, towards the end, about maybe May, June or something, whatever, we did try out on the recommendation of Cypher, and me and my analyst, who is now an analyst with Blade, Marian, a kid called Electro. He is a NaVi analyst now. He was with me. Basically, we tried out Gizmy from Monty Academy, and we liked him immediately. Why? Because he was very vocal, as an IGL should be. He was constantly talking during the round, organizing, calling mid-round, early round, freeze time, whatever. And he was the guy that we wanted to get when we didn't have an IGL. Simply because you can see when he's calling, that he's going to be a good IGL. You can see it. But you also notice that he doesn't know a lot of Counter-Strike, because he didn't play a lot of Counter-Strike on the competitive level, on the higher, echelons or whatever you want to call it, right? In the higher tier. But you can see, and that's the best possible scenario for you as a coach. And, if you're a normal guy and then you have this type of person, for you to develop, he's listening, he's calling, he's sometimes questioning when he needs to question. He's asking additional questions. He's calling as well. He has his own ideas. He's spending a lot of time in Counter-Strike, because we had him for a few weeks, and we wanted to buy him from Monty Academy, and the price was $30,000. And we agreed on it. We agreed on his salary. We agreed on his buyout, whatever the fuck was it. And then all of a sudden, I guess the Monty guys heard that Bleed is some sort of a fucking shady fucking financial,
yeah.
And they backed out of the deal. I have questions. I have a chat here saved up as well.
Okay.
And I believe they offered money from my own money to buy him out, to pay the Monty Academy.
Wow.
But they didn't. I can't remember that part, but I think I offered. I can't remember 100%, but I think I mentioned in a call that I wanted to buy him myself and just get him into the team. And they said no, they didn't want to sell him, and they promoted him to the main team later. Then this demoted and promoted again. But overall, when it comes to 100 Thieves and him going there, it's going to be a massive step up. And it comes to level of players that he's going to be playing with, and it's a good project for Glaive to work with him. If Glaive is adaptable in the sense of game meta and stuff that's happening on the server. I don't know about that one. Rain, you said he's going to be reviving his career. I don't know how much that is actually possible. That depends on Rain's motivation. Device probably is going to get some sort of a structure that he's going to be able to play in. The other guys like that Syra and Poi or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
I haven't been thrilled with what I've seen from them at all in these last 6 months. So this is an upgrade from them. I think it's going to mean a lot for both parties. He can be a good IGL if he develops properly. He has definitely the material in his personality, character, style, the way he's communicating. Everything is pointing out that he has potential to be a very solid IGL, and I would even put him that good to be in Liquid instead of Shui, instead of 100 Thieves, because that would be maybe closer to bigger events than 100 Thieves are, but 25 will get you some events, I guess, if you are right. So I do agree with you. I like Gizmy. He's a good kid. He's a very good kid, nice kid as well, like very, polite, well-behaved, and like well-spoken, and he listens to, more experienced people behind him, and then he follows the structure, and he wants to learn, and all the positive things that I can possibly say about this kid, I'm going to say it.
Put it this way, if the main take is just the Gizmy angle, I don't mind it. Like, I do actually think this is the appropriate level for him to be able to be an IGL of. Like I said, for me, it was this sort of a team or a Gamer Legion type team. It's one where I want it to still be that you're working with like newer players still, and you have to prove yourself as an IGL. I don't want people like that to just be given like the G2 job or something like that ridiculous. I think that'll be you'd be throwing them in the deep end. So I think the reason why this team makes sense also is, first of all, this team already has a couple of legendary players, so you'll have way more spotlight on you. And people already have seen in the past how players like Device and Rain play recently. So I actually think if they look way better in this squad, a lot of the credit will go to him actually. As I've been pointing out on Twitter, this is how you can tell how actually setting expectations is really important as an org. The real problem that orgs like Falcons or BC Game have is they've set impossible expectations right out the gate, and they've bragged about how much money they've got and about how they're trying to sign everyone for millions of dollars. So then at the end of it, obviously then an idiot fan who doesn't know the scene's going to be like, well, you said you'd be the best. Whereas 100 Thieves were really, really like low expectations, soft launch, quiet, like we're not even going to play lands, we're just playing smart. And so people even forget that they were going to those lands by the end of the season. They just weren't even vaguely close up to qualify to the major. Like that, by the way, I'm sorry, for a giant org like 100 Thieves and the salaries, I have to guess they're paying Device and Rain. That is an abject failure that first season. That's really bad. Like, if people don't know, they went to like something like 3 or 4 lands at least and didn't win any of them. Fans don't get this, bro. They genuinely just think they just played like fucking exhibition games. These were real tournaments. They just weren't a relevant team. Like they lost to teams. You guys would laugh out the fucking server if I brought them up on this call. So to me, but I actually do think though, here's one reason why I don't know consciously they did it this way, but I think subconsciously the reason they did like a soft launch of 100 Thieves is because of what I said when they launched this squad in the first place. You've taken Rain, I'm sorry, if anyone tells me he IGL'd, maybe technically his role was IGL in one of the original Norwegian teams 12 years ago, but that means fucking nothing to IGLing in the modern days. So if you're going to go, gotcha, you haven't in any way. You've done that thing where you got me by the letter of the law, but you completely missed the spirit of what I'm saying. So Rain was not an IGL who had any experience of that for my money. So I already thought that's a gamble. And then simultaneously, you also brought in Glaive, who just started coaching. Now, of the two of them, I would imagine Glaive's the more likely one to get good. But as I always tell people, it's the same with bloody analysts. You get some dickhead pro player who knew loads about the game. They go on the desk, I must be a really good analyst. And the analyst isn't about knowing things about the game. So how you present yourself, how you converse, how you interact with people, how you play your role in the broad. So in the same way, coaches his own skill set. So to me, the gamble was you took Device, who was looking like he was in a dodgy part of his career. I also suspect you didn't want to play many lands this season. And then you took these two people who were trying to roll swap to something that they haven't done before, and then you basically just said, there you go. So I think if you'd have actually said we were trying in season 1, this should be considered a massive failure, way worse than even Falcons and BC Game 1s. So I think actually this was well done, because now it's allowed you for the second season to start for real without those problems, because the first thing you've done is the most obvious one, which is get Rain the fuck out the IGL chair. Like, nothing he showed me in this team suggested he was good at. He just seemed average. And as a player, by the way, he didn't even lose that much as a player, but he wasn't very good as a player either. So if you ever watched their team, for me, this is the way 100 Thieves were. I watched quite a few of their games. At the beginning, Device was actually ass. He got really good at the end now. He sort of got his game going again. He was actually pretty bad at the beginning. The funny thing they did that was actually quite a good move was all the younger players, all the like ones that aren't the big names. All 3 of those big names were actually all right. Believe it or not, of the 3, I don't even think they kicked the worst. I thought actually the Sarah guy was the worst player. Like, to me, the Poi guy actually looks pretty good. He looks like he has real potential. Seems, by the way, smart pickup if you're going to play a bunch of online CS and a bunch of small lands. That's the sort of player that actually does well at those. The Agil guy actually was fine. I think they just kicked him if you look roll for roll, because Rain's going to do his rolls now, is my assumption. I actually thought he was totally fine. I don't see him as some failure because people are going to tie him to the other ex-SAW players. Basically, he was fine actually. He wasn't like Story and FlyQuest. I think he was totally fine. And so I actually don't mind this project now that they've got a real IGL, to say that, Maui. So actually, I do think this project will be better. The problem I have is this: unless Device is really good, I have to think if I look at their roster, they're just going to be battling with teams that I like but aren't relevant, like the NIPs of the world. You know what I mean? If they can even get to the level of the bigs of the world, then they've done a decent job, because I don't unfortunately see much like ceiling for this project. Like, I haven't seen anything that's blown me away yet. I don't mind these moves, though. I think these are good moves. I do think the Gizmy move is a good move. That's why my hope actually would be he comes in, does a good job, and then he gets like one more good player. Maybe they get a player that's like a bigger name come in as the third position or something like that. Because I do still think you probably need like one traditional other star rifler, if I had to guess.
It's just a shame that he's going to a team that is going to have to fight back to get into major contention again, because he just did that with a squad that was totally underpowered. I also think that an addendum hot take to this would just be that Luminosity also just got completely fleeced on their end of the deal. Like, you look at the 4 guys that they got there without Gizmy, and you're thinking, why would you pick up that core?
Think how rare it is,
getting the IGL there.
Think how rare it is you'd ever... Fair play to the owner. He essentially just almost... Look, he couldn't say this overtly, but he almost basically admitted, like, yeah, I get it that I didn't pick up one of the main people, but I'd already paid myself for the core because I'd already signed an IGL. Like, he basically admitted as much, which I think is actually very fair. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think you just make a tough business decision and you unsign him.
Yep, I know what you mean.
That's business, bro. It's like...
No, by the way, Kassad, the obvious example is, I always said the same thing about Jacob and FaZe. You can just admit you were wrong and just say, okay, we fucked up, it's done. We don't have to go down with the ship and make this like a permanent thing. But they did. I know what you mean. I would have just said the same thing, Kassad. I said to Lux, listen, mate, I fucked up on this one, mate. I didn't know actually this guy was available. I'm going to have to bench you, basically, and sell you. Like, yeah, sorry. I'm just going to have to.
I'll sell you. I'll throw in bonuses. I do something for you.
Yeah.
I
think you're right.
For you. I publicly say what I have to
make it easier to sell.
And take a responsibility as you did make sure that you didn't do anything wrong, and it was me and my fault.
Yes.
And I continued. That's business, man. That's how you do it. Now they signed 4 people without the main part, and now they're gonna keep losing, like they did in this China, whatever fucking Even like, well, just to add to this 100 Thieves thing, they could have signed Crimbo, for example. Like, that would be a decent signing, you know?
I would say the same thing as I say every time about bloody Liquid and FaZe. The one excuse you guys ever had was cost too much money to buy people out. But we know now there's people who are free agents. These guys don't sign. Like, how do the free agents go to teams we don't give a fuck about, but not the East team? I don't get it, mate. So whatever. It just shows how people
make a deal with these orgs. Like, lower down the buyout. Go on like payments, like several payments. Like, it doesn't have to be all at once. All these people want to get players off the books, players that are benched, so they don't have to play.
I actually think the best one you've suggested, Kassad, because it's like a classic football one, if people don't know, is the one where you just do it where there's a bunch of bonuses built in, basically, where it's like, if the guy makes it to the next major into stage 2, we get extra fee. It unlocks another 100k. If he's a top 20 player next year, we get like 100k more. Well, I think that's actually a really smart way to structure a deal, because if you do it fair, it'll even can still work out even if you're the big org and they do all those things.
Even with the payment structure, those people from big, for example, when it comes to you can take anybody else. They don't expect 150,000 instantly. Nobody will give them that. No, not even nobody reasonable will give them instantly, especially now. You make a payment structure over few months, few quarters, whatever. Like add additional bonuses, do something. Like I said, all these organizations, they want to get players off the books, so they don't have to pay the tax, they don't have to pay the benched salary, and all this kind of shit they have to pay them. Trust me, when you're negotiating and doing these things, like, think about it.
Right, we've got Poly Market back. So here, there are a couple of markets, obviously, in the off-season. It's potentially roster mania, isn't it? So if you go to the props section, we've got a couple here that I thought were fun. So how about this one? It's one of the main discussions, I feel like, after the major, which is obviously, will NaVi make a player change? This one says, will NaVi make a roster change before September? So obviously, we still got all of August as well there, right? At the moment, you do notice there are players. Before the major, you had the rumours about Alexi B. You've had them maybe even now. Obviously, you might have seen what recently Richard Lewis and the NaVi guy went back and forward over Richard, saying that there was a rumour that actually Bit does go to Falcons eventually. And then the NaVi guy claimed he is family. And of course, the usual thing that orgs do. Obviously, people claim maybe Alexi B goes to Aurora, or maybe Kickson might come to the team, or people historically have said Frozen, right? What do you think, guys? Does at the moment the traders on Poly Market say 53% chance? So they say a slight chance it does happen according to them, but it's not overwhelming. September's still a long way away. Does NaVi make a change? What do you think, gentlemen?
Yeah, I think this is like value. That's huge value of taking yes. I mean, 53%. I feel like it should be at least 80. Thing is, like, NaVi has to make it. I think they are aware. They need to make a change. They need to do something. I think there is, like, when the team has reached a point where that things are going to happen, like, you feel it in a sense, like, that it's the right time. I think they know that too. I think they feel it. I don't know who is it going to be. Probably Ime, if I had to guess. I don't think they will touch Wonderful after, like, these few months. They're not ready to give up Makaze. Alexi should be safe in theory, and Bit is obviously staying. So who is it left, right? Ime, and then who can they bring in? That's another topic. But overall, 53. That's basically a 50-50 in a sense, right? So I would take yes. I would definitely take yes here, and I think it's a great value. I mean, I don't usually, kind of go for something like this, but I feel like it's a slam dunk. This one.
Where are you at, Maui?
I feel like if you miss the playoffs of the major, then you start thinking about things, because I think that Blade himself has to be reasonable with what he set out to do this last season, which was to win a trophy. And then they did that. They even won a trophy by beating Vitality. But then you start thinking about some of the runs that you had where you won an EPL, but you didn't have to beat Spirit, who were the best team. But then then you won Atlanta, but then you actually beat a Vitality that wasn't practicing. And then you get this crash back to reality that your runs through those were a little bit more Mickey Mouse than you wanted to first admit to yourself. And then you actually have to, you just have to reckon with the idea that maybe we can't just rely on having the best game plan of all time every single time we load up into the server, and we need a little bit more firepower. And Ima's a guy that helps the system work. I think he raises the floor of the team a lot, but the ceiling just isn't there when he's supposed to be your guy that's set up in every single advantageous position, along with Makaze, I suppose. But I'd say Makaze is doing his job more times than is in those kind of moments.
No, by the way, I actually also agree because I think the value is crazy on this. I think because here's the problem. If this said August, okay, maybe they don't do this month. Bro, you've got to bet essentially like almost 2 months for them to make a move. Like, I think it happens. Even if it's something as simple as they gamble on like a more unknown player that they want to do the role, whatever it might be. I agree with you. I actually do think the major was a big deal. I think for NaVi it was a bigger deal than Vitality. Like, Vitality won all those tournaments and they showed they were insane. They can just go, we had a bad day. If you're NaVi, the problem with that one is, like you said, Maui, I actually think they have the opposite version of Falcons. Falcons needs to have the most insane power ever and then do some golden calls. Maybe they can win. NaVi needs to just have like the most insane game plan perfectly executed and then they might win. Saying that they definitely will win. That's even crazier on someone. So if I were them, I think you can keep 95% of what you like about NaVi and just make a player change that does give you more firepower. It's why the Immo one is unfortunate if you're him, because it just looks like the easiest position to replace. And even that whole thing of like, he's doing a secondary calling. I'll give it up, mate. The secondary calling isn't winning me many trophies right now. I'll gamble on that. I'm sorry, I just will. I'll just gamble that it'll work. So I think they make a move personally. I think it's also like, I agree with the Blade angle too. I think Blade is certainly will like sit on players if he thinks they can improve. I think he's seen everything from this roster now. I think it's time to make a move, and I think he does it. So I'm with you. Right. Now then, gentlemen, it should be Kassad's take now, yeah?
I mean, I can go if you want.
Yeah. What's your take?
Mine is like, I went a little bit like down the... Not so much down.
Listen, we get it. You're a bit disillusioned. You know, karrigan's proved everything you know is wrong about Counter-Strike. You're even lost in ghosts about Huxley winning 3 years ago. You know,
I know Duncan is waiting for this at the edge of his seat. We didn't congratulate him on, guessing it.
That's a pretty good hot take.
Even though, no matter how stupidly absurd the take
of course. Yeah,
it was right.
Yeah,
and we didn't go. So congratulations, Duncan.
Yeah. And I did admit,
good work.
Half of the take was an excuse to show you those Louis Vuitton bags. I didn't even say it in the episode. You know, whatever. It's all good. It just so happened that the comedy also came true. I can't help that. You know.
Listen, when it comes to the hot take, I didn't go down the ladder as much as Maui to take 100 Thieves, but I did take MONGOLZ though. And my hot take is that MONGOLZ are going to be out of top 20 by the end of the year.
Oh.
Is that even a hot take? Is that a hot take? Could be, I guess.
I don't know. The thing is,
it's a hot take. It's definitely a hot take. It's a good take.
To be fair, they're number 12 now. Okay.
The reason
and they've been number 10 at times, I think. So, okay, that's a hot take. Yeah, okay.
The reason why I'm saying this is because I kind of feel bad for them because they built all this success in the past, whatever it was, right? Year and a half, 2 years, based on like a nationality team all the way from Mongolia, bringing the players from internet cafes. Everything happened so fast. Everybody was cheering for them. And then a still unknown thing happened with Senzu, where they lost their best player now, playing in this ridiculous team of PC game instead of his own team of MONGOLZ.
Yeah.
I don't know what the reason was. Someday, maybe, Duncan, you will get the truth out.
True.
Nah.
By the way, I know what you mean. If I had to guess right now, like, gun to my head, I think they're lying. I think there was some sort of a dispute within their team that they just couldn't get past.
It has to be.
I don't believe, because if you don't know, the official story now is he was just burned out and then he felt like exploring other adventures. Here's the problem with that. That'd all make sense, Kassad, if he was in G2 right now. He's in fucking BC game after going to Passion away. Yeah. Nobody goes, you know what, guys? This MONGOLZ project is a bit boring. I'd rather go and play it and maybe not get into the major and then be on BC. No one says that. Even the money part doesn't explain it. It just doesn't, bro. It doesn't, because it
playing all these finals really, I would rather just.
I don't buy it. I'm with you, but you're right. It'll be years till we'll find out the truth. I can tell. It'll be like 3 years.
Yeah. It's whatever. But like, it's a sad story because like players like Mzinho are very, likable, very good players, very good kids.
Absolutely.
In-game leader Blitz is also a tremendous guy as well, and he built his career from scratch and leading this team. And I think he can definitely be an IGL in one of the top 10, 7, whatever teams instead of somebody right now. And now they're struggling more and more and more. At the beginning, they were kind of floating still on the back of the structure they had, and they changed, Cobrazera to that other guy. And right now, they're struggling even more. And I see them going deeper and deeper into this problem, right? Because they don't, unless they pull out somebody crazy again, which is very unlikely. I can see them being trampled as the best Asian team by Tyloo.
I know he's building in hot takes. He started out like quite tame. He's only stacking them, so they're not going to be top 20. Tyloo's going to be better than them. Okay.
Tyloo is going to be overcoming them if Tyloo continues to play like, if they continue to work hard, let's say it like that. But the thing, and they don't change too many players, or maybe more than one. But the thing is, like, there is no saving for MONGOLZ. All I can see from now on are bigger problems. Blitz taking the opportunity to in-game lead
somebody like G2, somebody like, Liquid, somebody like all these teams, because he has the renommee, he speaks English, he's very smart, and he's accomplished with MONGOLZ all that he could accomplish, and now he's going to be feeling like that he needs to leave, and after that it's all over, because there is nobody else left to lead that project.
He's built in some hot takes that Blitz leaves to a Western team, and then they just shut the project down. Holy shit, how many hot takes are in this? Okay.
I mean, there's layers, but the thing is, like, you get the point. And by the end, for the first step towards that is them getting out of top 20. The thing that can keep them floating is the invites, because of the rankings and all these things. And they keep getting out of maybe groups or getting some upsets, but that's all. Gradually, at the end of the road, they will be out of top 20, and then all other problems, like that I mentioned before, will appear. And that should be the end of MONGOLZ, sadly, because I do like that team simply because they're from a country with such a small amount of people playing, and such a far away, and what they accomplished, play the major finals and all these things. Like not many teams can have that kind of story behind them.
It's been over 2 years since MONGOLZ got in. I checked as you were speaking on it that the last time that they were outside the top 20 was April 22nd, 2024, and they have yet to leave it.
What was the lowest they got to, just roughly? Did they ever get close?
The lowest they got to is pretty much now.
Oh, right.
12.
Okay, fair enough.
They
That's
were,
a good hot
they
take,
were,
it's a bold hot take.
I mean, they were in the top 10 for the entirety of 2025.
Yeah.
The entire year, they were a top 10 team, and now they're finally out of it. Last time they were out of the top 10 was November 25th of 2024, when they were still probably putting it together, So, no, it's a good take, because it didn't feel really possible that... I mean, even though you lose your best player, Senzu was kind of more of a top... I'd say like 10 to 20 player in the world, more than a top 10 player in the world.
Yes.
Like I think on my personal ranking, I probably put him like 9th or 10th last year, where it was, he's more of a fringe guy on that sort of side, as opposed to a guy that's like a bona fide superstar. Get a CobraZera who has shown flashes. Like I liked what I saw from him in some doses, but I just don't think he's really learning at the speed that the MONGOLZ needed him to learn at, and I don't think he's taking over games ever. Like, he's never ever taking over games like Senzu did. I think, like, at the best CobraZera performance, I think he beat Fury at like a PGL event. I think it was the playoffs of Cluj. I think it was the Cluj playoffs to kick off the year. Was like the one good series I ever saw from CobraZera, and that's it. Like, Senzu, I saw dozens. So it's this team is clearly missing that aspect to them, and I just think that they kind of know that their system was sort of a house of cards, where it worked wonderfully at times, but you really do just move that one piece in Senzu, and then you lose so much so quickly, and we're starting to see the repercussions there. And 910 really did a great job of filling some of the shoes of Senzu, just being a little bit more of an aggressive opper, just like taking initiative. I think that he actually has played himself into being now the best Mongolian player from the country, but it's just still not enough. So it's a pretty crazy. I mean, I'll just say in a do I agree or disagree? I think they'll like barely edge you out and stay in the top 20, but like that's why it's a good hot take.
I think it's a good hot take, but I actually disagree, even though I am a massive skeptic of MONGOLZ, because basically, I'm sorry, for me, the news that like Senzu leaves officially is the end of me giving a shit about the MONGOLZ. Like, they will never, the problem is you have to remember where they were. They were genuinely they weren't even on the border. They just tipped over into being an elite team in Counter-Strike. That was the craziest shit. Like, he didn't even leave when they got bad. They were still really good. They were like a lock to make every semi-finals. They were even beating like Vitality, for fuck's sake. Like, they actually were like such a legit team. That would have been for real. I just wish I could go into an alternate universe like Doctor Strange and just see what the next year of that team looks like. Look, maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe actually this is like, they got ahead of some problems where they were going to have a conference. That could all be true, but it was so exciting. So the problem is this: when they then got controllers in CobraZera, they're nowhere close to Senzu. They don't even, by the way, with CobraZera, I can tell you, they don't even try to use him like they did Senzu, because they can't. Senzu was like a bona fide star player. And with Maui, he was wasn't a superstar. He wasn't some like prodigy beyond Mongolia, but he was pretty swear. He was the best Asian player. Like he was just a really, really talented player. And I'd say that because actually I think Jam Young's pretty fucking good too. But the difference is Senzu also had like the feel that I think you need as well to be at tier 1. He had like an intuitive sense for the game that I don't think's coached. Man, here's the funny thing though. To say all of that, I don't think, for example, they'll ever be like ever close to winning a tournament again. Like I'd be shocked if they ever make a real semi-final of a real tournament that has like all the top teams there. I don't think that'll ever happen. I think they're at best they can do what they did this season. You sneak into the odd playoffs. You just win a 2-2 game in a Swiss system. My problem is I think it's too extreme to say top 20, and here's why. Because one thing I think they actually have done really well, I think surely this is the biggest positive from the fact Senzu left, is they aren't one of those teams that you get with lower teams where you see they've got 1-star player where you're like, they're just shit except for him. No, they have no one else who's approaching like true star player. Like 910's just a good AWPer. He's not anywhere close to even the Molodoids in the world. They are just much more impactful players. But one thing I think that it's exposed Senzu leaving is, bro, they really do. Blitz and Mara really understand the personnel they have, though. I think they've done a great job making this squad. Like, I'll give you a few examples. If I'm a team where, right, here's the thing, they don't have crazy fragging stats. People will see the numbers aren't that nuts. It's 910 has good numbers. No one else has good numbers. But if you have a look at how they set their team up, so the two players that do the entry work, Mazzinio and Techno, are actually two of the best aimers in their team, if you don't know. They have really good headshot aim. Like, that means that they don't need to get the kills. They just get crazy headshots that will open you rounds up. Then you think of the style of play they play. They play that, like early contact, tight pack, as Luz says. That's a really good style to play if you've got some sharp aimers, as Kassad would say, but not star players. Like, that style, if people don't know, Foot's basically that on steroids. That's why Foot was so dangerous this first season. Like, that's a really good style to play if you aren't a team that has super experienced, mega all-star players, and you just want to get a bunch of rounds in. Then also, I'll throw this out there as well, I actually think the way Blitz plays shows you why you have to look at the context of a team, not just like a team in isolation. Because here's what's funny. Blitz does a lot of what Hunter does in G2, where on CT side, he definitely takes some like fragging spots, because essentially his excuse, like Hunter would be, their rotation spots, and I'm the IGL, so I can call better if I can sort of see what's happening. The difference is Hunter has superstar players he could put in those spots. Blitz has no one. Blitz is doing it because he has to, mate. I actually think he actually does an awesome job on CT side. And then on T side, I've always thought it's actually mildly underrated. It's funny, we normally say it's amazing to be like a fragger and an IGL, but it actually is easier. Like, if you actually have really good, decent fragging yourself, you make your own calls easier because you're not relying on someone else to do that frag, and then you do the call based on it. You can just make it all one thing. It's just as very few players can do that. And I don't think, like I say, I don't think it's appropriate for most other teams. I think Blitz actually has to do this. It's the right move. And then lastly, I'll throw this out there. Even though this is a pure speculation, just thinking of their style of play, I could actually see the cash change helping them. I could see them being better on a map like a cash than an overpass. I could see that being, that style of like early contact tight pack, that could be really good on cash points on T side. So I'll have to see. I think it's a good hot take though. I actually think it's a fair hot take and it's a good one. I just disagree. I'll say it won't happen. Which is also technically what people should be saying about hot takes. Right, we'll do one more poly market, then we have one more take. So, there's another poly market, it's another roster move. I thought this one was even more applicable, even though everyone says NaVi should make a change. How about this one? Because obviously this was a rumour. What about will 9Z, the Argentinian team, will they make a change before September? At the moment, only 39%. Right, obviously, if people don't know, the rumour went that after the major, they themselves know the Mayan guy had a really bad major and his stats are really bad. If people don't know, when he was in RBR back in the day, he was just a rifle boy. He's in the AWPer now. Right, their rumour was, because it just made sense on paper, didn't it, that they were trying to get the player Try, the Argentinian AWPer, that was in Passion UA. We all know he's a decent guy. He's played way back in the day in Furia, right? Apparently that's not happening though, which is why I'm guessing why it's now 39% chance. And then obviously some other moves have been and gone. Right now the traders say they don't make a change, right? Do they need to make a change and will they make a change? What do you think, boys?
Do they need to make a change? I would say no, not yet. Will they make a change? Sadly, with these teams, they are inexperienced when it comes to like dealing with problems like this, or drop of form, or drop of individual form, or team results, because they got 1, 2, 3 results in a row that kind of makes them like being under the microscope from like people in the community and stuff, and they tend to like overthink and overestimate it themselves a little bit, and they think they are much better than they actually are, and they are expecting all these results to be on a constant level through every single event, which is impossible when you are a team like that. And these drops in form, they will happen. You just need to endure them and solve the problems that cause them, and you will be back on the winning train, right? Sadly, many teams and many coaches and many GMs and owners, crazy owners, don't understand that. And they will see 2-3 results in a row that are kind of crazy, and they will be in the spotlight. They will be all over Twitter and HLTV and interviews and desks and all this shit, right? People will come there for sponsorships. And after those 3 results, when the form drops and you have 3, 4, 5 results that are on the level that was before the success, you start pointing fingers. You start blaming lowest fragging per people. You start blaming the coach. You start blaming, different people that have nothing to do with the actual problems. And they were also the part of the success you made, but you forget that. And then people and, teams and owners and whoever tends to make mistakes right at that moment. They start bringing the friends of the players that are not in the team, and start making decisions of their own without consulting any knowledgeable or experienced people in the industry, or making any kind of rational decision and making it even worse. So I predict that pathway for 9Z, sadly. So I would say 39% is a good value again.
Thoughts, Maui?
I wouldn't expect them to. I know this is kind of a weird sentiment to even relay, but when I made a tweet regarding give me try to 9Z now as soon as they got eliminated from the major, the Argentinian or Latin American fan base just kind of blew up at me, just saying like, how could you betray, like blah blah blah. They were so tied to him in a way that I totally didn't expect. Like I really didn't expect that they were so down with having this guy who to me just seems like the big problem on the team. And I have to believe that sentiment actually is something that's more common in that space than I would have expected. And so I assume that's kind of like in a way kind of coming from the top, or whatever 9Z is sort of spreading with their messages too, that they're very down to have him and they win as a team, lose as a team, and they're probably and they're kind of a team right now too that's sort of picking up steam almost maybe before people thought they would, and they're kind of emerging from Latin America or even South America as like one of the premier teams. So I don't think that they're gonna immediately say they had the best showing for an Argentinian or team ever. We're gonna start making moves. I think they're gonna live with it for a little bit longer, and I would say it could happen before the end of the year, but before September seems a little hasty for me. So I would say no.
The funny thing is, I actually agree with Kassad on this one. I think the value is crazy. I can't know if they will, but just the fact it's 39% means if you don't know how it works, if essentially yes happens, you bought in at like 39 cents or whatever it is, and then you get all the way up to $1 per however many you'd put in. So you'd actually get mad value if they do a change. The reason why I think so is, even though I think both of you actually outlined both possible scenarios when an underdog does well, you either get lost in the sauce and go, we've already got everything, just keep it going, we'll do it again. You probably won't. Or you rush to go, kick this guy, keep this guy, and people destroy the teams like they did with the put into the breach. Got all those squads did it to themselves, right? I would actually say, I think it's more like the latter. I actually think, if anything, the players that did well at the major, I agree with him, get like too big for their boots and go like, actually, I'm fucking sick. Even though really only the Lushov guy should be thinking that right now. And then they make a move. I don't know if it'll be try in this case, but the other reason I'll also throw in there is the tournament they're playing right now in China. They've already had some sus results in. Bro, I could see them just bombing this tournament. Like, they've got the easy side of the bracket. I think they could lose to Tyloo. They could lose to fucking Nemesis. They could, and if they do, I actually think that's where you might wig out and overreact to that result, because you've just come off the Astana result into the major, and now if you have like a tournament where on paper you're supposed to win because it's all shitters in China, if you don't win that tournament, I think people overreact, bro. And actually, that's where I could see someone like you could. By the way, you could even literally just say, because it's in China, you could just have like an argument on the plane home, and then it's just feelings get too big and someone's kicked out the squad. I've seen shit like that happen way too many times. So I'm actually with Kassad, even though I'm with Maui. I don't know that they should or even might, but I just think the value is crazy to say yes. So I'm going to say yes on this one. Now, last take of the show, gentlemen. Speaking of overreacting to shit and just living in a fantasy world, do you know what? Since I got that one needle in the haystack of my take about Falcons and karrigan, which I will reiterate, I didn't even say they would win. I just said they could. But at the time, everyone told me I was wrong. So logically, I'm just putting that out there. Are you ready? I'm back on my bullshit. Because listen to the following. Sit back, just fucking get a drink I enjoy, amaretto sour or something. Sip on that as I tell you some absolute bullshit. So listen, gentlemen, you know right now, no one knows who the fifth player of BC Game is. Maybe it's Laux, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's some unknown player. No one knows right now. It's implied they don't know. They're still trying to sign him. I don't need to know. Are you ready? Sight unseen. This BC game lineup, Magus IGL. I've wanted that move for like half a decade, bro. I actually thought, even though he did a good job at the end of Vitality, I've always thought this actually seems like a player. I've heard in Astralis, he was the one fucking arguing with Glaven Sonic all the time. I've always thought this is a player who actually, unlike others, isn't doing it as like a cynical move. I think he always should have gone to IGL eventually. I think he's also got the pedigree. Seems like the kind of player who has the sort of mid-round feel, etc. I like that move. I like that move to bring him back. I actually think he'd be a little bit more sus than any other role. You still got Simple. Here's the key thing with Simple, right? I actually think Simple has to play differently in this team, and I think he will, than he did in the others. Here's why I think he will. Because Simple has the same disease Nico has. They just live forever, rent-free. If you beat them 8 years ago, you're just still that player. So I actually think, believe it or not, Simple will actually respect Magus. I know he's just also played him in Falcons, but he wasn't IGL. I think he will actually listen to him. And the key thing, reason I bring this up is, I think the worst thing about the last roster that I didn't anticipate was this. Simple didn't properly try in that roster, in my opinion. The old Simple was a really aggressive rifler. That Simple was a massive beta with the rifle, the AWP. He'd still get AWP kills, but he was way less willing to put himself out there. And I think that's because I think Simple, like we've seen in his career now, unless he respects you, he's on some like Corby shit where he wouldn't pass the ball if he doesn't think you practice hard enough. Like, if he doesn't respect you, he won't play for you. He'll actually bait you like it was an FPL game. So I think he will actually respect Magus. And I think if Laux or something like that is the fifth, I actually just think they'll all think he's just a good modern player. So I think if you look at the squad they've got now, they've signed Senzu permanently. You've got Simple. Magus is an interesting one. Electronic's actually okay in this mix, by the way. He doesn't even try and be the old Electronic people do. He doesn't try and be IGL. He just does an all right job for it. I don't know who the fifth is. So if they sign a really bad fifth, this will make my shit super shit. But I'm assuming it's going to be someone like a Laux or someone like that. It doesn't look like it's going to be Flammus, but it's going to be some decent player. So here's my hot take. That team will be top 10.
Fuck off.
Welcome. We're back. I'm back, baby.
Listen,
I'm back.
if he is, what the fuck?
I'm back, baby.
He said they're
I'm
going to
back.
make the major or
Top
something.
10.
I could maybe
Oh my
engage
God.
with that, but they're
Top
going to
10.
be top 10, what? Top 10 biggest failures?
They're going to be top 10 and they're going to make the next major kassad. How about both of them, homie? Oh,
Shut
both
up.
of them.
Like, I'll tell you a story.
Top
and
10, next major and stage 3 and next major. All of that shit, baby. Simple. Simple, baby. By the way, I'm actually low-key glad that I know how HLTV works because it's almost impossible now. If they actually were more reasonable, I'd even say that Simple's going to be a top 20 player, but I won't do that because I think they probably have to make every semi-final to even do that, so I won't do that, Tate. It just can't happen, can it? So go on then, boys. Go for it.
That's just...
Oh, you muted your mic,
no,
Kassad.
Kassad, I can't hear you.
You muted your mic.
No.
You've clicked a button or something, haven't you? If you're using a show microphone, there's literally a button on it that like mutes the whole fucking mic, which is what's cancer. You've probably pressed it.
I'm sure you can hear me now.
There you go. You pressed it, didn't you?
Listen,
it's all good.
Yeah,
I've got the same mic. It's all good. It's easy to press it back. So go on, keep going.
Yeah. Listen, I think I made myself clear, but when I said, "Are you fucking insane?" But the thing is, like, I'll tell you a story why. I'll think that there is a massive chance that this project fails, even bigger than whatever. Like, making a comparison to whatever failure.
A bit like fail clowns, you mean? You mean fail clowns? Remember that retirement home that all the the retirement home is the major winner now, by the way. So
okay, sure.
All right, BC Game is the new Falcons. There's the second top tick. There you go. So it's going to gradually build from joke last year to like all right this year. Next year they win the major.
I'll tell you a little story.
Okay.
Little story. Why I think that's
Go on. Where's this going?
because it's ran by Simple. and that's sadly the
Okay.
reason why it's gonna fail.
Okay.
Because the reason for it, like that owner, CEO, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, Acros or whatever his name is. Yeah.
He posted like, yeah, we are hiring this and this and this and this, and I sent him a message just to see, like, semi-serious
Okay.
message on Twitter for the GM spot, right? I didn't expect anything in return, but I
Okay.
would engage in conversation if it actually, if he replied.
Okay.
He never replied.
Okay.
I can read the message out loud if you want. I don't care, like, whatever. If people want it, I'll read it. But the thing, my message to him. But the thing is that he never replied to it. From what I understand, in this team right now, in this organization, there has been around 130 people for that job, for the job of GM.
Okay.
And the requirements for that job were that you cannot make Simple angry. That's one of the requirements.
Is this confirmed?
And
You
the
heard
other-
this from your sources that you can't make
Yes,
something like,
absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
And the other one that is 1,000%,
Okay.
that you can now listen to this bullshit.
Come on.
That you cannot hire Russian players into the team, and at the same time, Simple is playing with electronic.
So it implies Simple does still care about not having too many Russians and not getting blamed for that. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, but
okay.
but the thing is, like, not
Okay.
hiring Russian players at the same time where you have
It's a bit
played the
hypocritical,
Russian player
sure.
seems a bit crazy to me.
Yeah.
And
And by the way, it's also a big deal because I know a lot of people like me thought, well, fuck it, if he can't play with Western players, just get a bunch of Russian speakers. So that is a big deal if that's true. Certainly, yeah.
bunch of other stuff that obviously I right now
Okay.
I'm not gonna. But this is like the most mild ones.
Okay.
And if that's the way the org is run, and the team is being assembled, and the structure is going that way, that you are immediately
I love it.
like out of the team. If
I
you
just
make
love the
Simple
idea, like,
angry.
right, guys, thank you for all attending this open audition for GM. First rule, only ever bring Simple the full sugar Coca-Cola, no Coke Zeros in the room.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, I know, like, the idea, that's like the first thing I know it's meant
Like,
with it. I love it.
if this
I
is
love
the
it.
any indicator, if this is
I
the
love
any
it.
indicator of how this
Yeah.
organization and team is being ran, like, for me, that's enough said. Like,
Okay. What's going to be crazy then is that means when they make it to top 10, like my hot take, that means actually Simple's secretly the best GM in esports too, because he'll have secretly.
he's absolutely the gold GM. If that happens.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. What does Zemo do? He just plays the game. He doesn't even GM the squad.
He just give him the 5 PCs, he can play all of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it's equivalent to, I mean, you saw what happened to Portugal in World Cup. Like, Ronaldo, the Roberto Martinez, the coach of the squad, doesn't have the balls to substitute him out in the
Sure.
middle of the game. He keeps playing him. The guy is a moving fucking tree. 50-year-old tree, like, even though he's the GOAT and the prime.
By the way,
or
it's because
whatever.
of political reasons. He obviously didn't want the game to end without him on the field, didn't he? So I know what you mean. It was
Yeah,
sentimental,
the
wasn't
thing
it?
is, like, he doesn't have the balls.
Yeah,
Even though he
of course.
announced that he's going to be retiring after
Yeah.
from the team, he didn't have the balls to take him out against Spain. And that's why I ended up they had better players. I mean, that's a different subject, but the parallel is there. If you let players dictate your job and the job that you are hired
Of course.
for, then you're going to end up being,
Okay. Yeah, it's making my hot take harder. I'll give you that.
yeah, and then you
Getting
see
more
what happened
satisfying,
to
but it's all
LeBron and
good.
Cavaliers, and LeBron and Cavaliers, and all this coaching stuff, and, like, I mean, it has examples in sports before, right now. So that's what's gonna make your hot take, being much more difficult than you would imagine.
Okay.
Top 10, if you said top 30 or the major stage 1 or something like that, they can go to the tournament and they can explode with some play. I also don't believe in Magics at all as an IGL. Simply, I don't see it. Even though he was the IGL when Glaive was, like, out for that time, he was decent. But this is not Device. This is not the Danish
True.
players. This is not Astralis. This is not the same Counter-Strike version at all. It's just completely different. If he was any good to be top 10 in the stage 3 of the major, he would do it with the previous team that he was in, with the great IGL of Hooksy and all these players, right? But he didn't, and now that he's been given another chance. I feel like it's a repetition of Electronic getting the IGL, role. Like, why not bring somebody different? Why not contact Blitz to play with Senzu and make that fucking connection? Why not? Why not something else? Why do you have to bring him, Magix, to play with? You look at this team right now, Simple 27 or 28, Electronic 28, Mag is 28, Senzu 19, Taz 57. Like, where it doesn't have like the synergy at all. Unless they bring another 20-year-old or 19-year-old, it's still going to have a gap. And it needs to be someone that Simple will respect as well. And Electronic. Like you said, Loungs. If he goes there, there's zero chance your hot take is right. Because those personalities, I know Loungs, I know how he is, and I know how he has a little tendency to piss people off around him with whatever he does. He has those tendencies and that little line, even though he's a decent player, don't get me wrong. And if somebody like that goes near Simple, it's all over for everyone. What's Taz going to do? Taz, who is supposed to be, if Taz is the old Taz, the authority Taz, the guy who is with the, he's not that guy as well. He went to G2, he was like a little girl. Now it's Simple and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like be that guy, be the old Taz. That I respected. And then take control of the team and you make the decision. Right now, it's Simple who makes the calls primarily from what I know. But your hot take, that's why I don't agree with it. Yeah.
I mean, I think top 10 is absurd. That's just my initial reaction to that. I like where the team's headed. I think that they're actually putting pieces together on paper that make more sense than maybe at first people thought that they were going to actually look like. I mean, I think that this is the problem is that BC Games reality is way in the middle of where Thorin's calling them as top 10 and where Simple haters are putting them as well. And to me, they're actually going to probably end maybe around the rank of of 100 Thieves, where it's kind of just like, yeah, there's some cool pieces here. I just think the Magisk is going to take longer as an IGL.
BC game will be better than 100 Thieves. There you go. We'll make it head to head.
Man, I got to see the fifth because I might just agree if it's a really sick fifth, but if it's a, we'll see. We could come back to that one for sure. I think that the thing is that Simple's haters have made it so overblown how he's so washed. Like he's definitely not washed. He's just he's not a world number one. But he's washed to me means like you should be basically knocking on the door of retirement. He's not doing that. He's actually way better than that. He's like I was. I mean,
he did it the other day at the IM Atlanta game. He actually had that map against. What was it actually?
Vitality?
Yeah, he had like a 30 bomb or something. It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's still.
There's only one map, but it was still pretty nuts. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, doing that versus Vitality in 2026, probably like two other oppers in the world can ever say they had games like that. Monacy and who? Yes. I don't even know who the other guy would be. Maybe Shiro, but like, no, it's just like that's it. You have a rare case of a team that actually has a great opper, and I feel like I had to take. My take about Simple was that he is going to make it abundantly clear and almost undeniable that he's a top 10 opper in the world, I think, by the end of this last season. But the problem is that they didn't play enough that people couldn't really jump on board that. But if you watch BC game at all this season, you would say you would have wanted this opper on your team if you didn't have Zaiwu, Monacy, or Shiro practically. Maybe like I'm missing one name. It's been a long player break for me. But yeah, no, it's just like, that's what you have, and that's a tool that nobody has. And if Senzu learns to speak English, and if Electronic already seemingly can, and Magisk is able to IGL, it's just that a lot of things have to go right for me. That's the problem with really buying in completely that they're going to be top 10. I can see them being around the top 30 for sure top 30, but really breaking in and going as far to say top 10. That's too far. That's just too far for me. I just don't think everything will click for them every single time consistently enough to them to raise their ranks as such.